Life was idyllic, or so I thought. My wife, Emma, and I were the picture-perfect couple. We had met in college, fallen madly in love, and soon after, tied the knot. Our lives were intertwined in every conceivable way, from shared dreams to our beautiful 5-year-old son, Oliver. Our friends envied us, and our families were proud. I was a successful architect, and Emma, a marketing executive, excelled in her career. We lived in a charming suburban home, filled with laughter and love. Yet, beneath the surface, subtle cracks began to form. Emma started working late more frequently. At first, it seemed harmless, a big project at work, tight deadlines. I trusted her implicitly, never questioning her integrity. But the late nights became more frequent, the excuses more vague. Our once passionate relationship cooled, and the distance between us grew. One evening, after tucking Oliver into bed, I waited up for Emma. The clock ticked past midnight, and worry gnawed at my heart. When she finally walked through the door, her demeanor was different, distant, almost detached. She brushed off my concern with a tired smile and a quick kiss on the cheek before retreating to the shower. That night, as I lay in bed beside her, sleep eluded me. A nagging feeling tugged at my consciousness, but I pushed it aside, convincing myself it was merely the stress of her job. Little did I know that this was only the beginning of the unraveling of our perfect illusion. Days turned into weeks, and the late nights continued. Emma's phone buzzed constantly with messages she quickly dismissed. Our conversations became perfunctory, lacking the warmth and connection we once shared. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. It wasn't until a chance encounter with one of Emma's co-workers that my suspicions were confirmed. I had run into Lisa at the grocery store, and after some small talk, she innocently mentioned how lucky Emma was to have such a supportive boss, especially with how much time they were spending together on the new campaign. My heart sank. The pieces of the puzzle fell into place, and I was faced with a devastating realization. Emma, the woman I had loved and trusted for over a decade, was having an affair with her boss. The perfect illusion was shattered, and my world began to crumble around me. In the days that followed, I tried to confront Emma, but she dismissed my accusations with a cold, detached demeanor that was entirely foreign to me. It was as if the woman I married had been replaced by a stranger. Each denial, each dismissive shrug, drove a wedge deeper between us. The warmth and love that once filled our home were replaced by a chilling silence. I felt like a ghost in my own life, wandering through the remnants of our happiness, now tainted by betrayal. The idyllic life we had built together was nothing more than a fragile facade, shattered beyond repair. As I stared at the pieces of our broken marriage, I couldn't help but wonder how I had been so blind, so trusting. The perfect illusion had crumbled, leaving me lost and alone in its wake. In the wake of discovering Emma's betrayal, my world turned upside down. Each morning, I woke up hoping it had all been a nightmare, only to face the cold, harsh reality. The woman who had been my partner, my confidant, had become a stranger, and the life we had built together felt like a cruel joke. I couldn't bear to look at her, yet I couldn't tear myself away. I needed answers, but every confrontation ended in the same way. Emma brushing off my questions with a chilling indifference. "It's all in your head," she would say, her eyes devoid of the warmth they once held. The more she denied, the more certain I became of her infidelity. One night, after another of her late returns, I found myself pacing the living room, my mind a storm of confusion and hurt. Oliver was asleep upstairs, blissfully unaware of the chaos brewing below. I picked up Emma's phone, left carelessly on the coffee table, and hesitated. This was a line I had never crossed, but desperation drove me forward. Scrolling through her messages, I found what I had feared. Explicit texts, plans for rendezvous, declarations of love, all exchanged with her boss. Each word was a dagger, cutting deeper than the last. My hands shook as I read, tears blurring my vision. The betrayal was real, and it was far worse than I had imagined. The next day, I confronted her with the evidence. "How long?" I demanded, my voice trembling with a mix of rage and despair. Emma's face hardened, a mask of cold detachment. "It doesn't matter," she replied. "We're over." With those words, The last remnants of our life together crumbled. She packed a bag and left, the door slamming shut behind her. I stood there, numb, as the silence of the house pressed in on me. Oliver's innocent laughter from earlier in the day echoed in my mind, a cruel reminder of what was at stake. In the days that followed, I fell into a deep depression. The vibrant, active man I once was disappeared, replaced by a hollow shell. I went through the motions, barely functioning. Work became a distant memory, and the simplest tasks felt insurmountable. My family, though supportive, couldn't reach me through the fog of despair that enveloped me. Every room in the house was a reminder of Emma. The kitchen, where we had shared countless meals and stolen kisses. The living room, where we had laughed and dreamed. Our bedroom, now an empty, lifeless space. I couldn't escape the memories, and I couldn't escape the pain. One evening, as I sat in the darkness of the living room, Oliver wandered in, clutching his favorite stuffed animal. He climbed onto my lap and looked at me with his big, trusting eyes. "Daddy, why are you sad?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. I hugged him tightly, feeling the weight of his love and innocence. In that moment, I realized I couldn't let my pain consume me. I had to find a way to rebuild, for both our sakes. The shattered reality of my marriage was a wound that would take time to heal, but as I held Oliver close, I felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps, amidst the wreckage of my life, there was still something worth fighting for. The days after Emma left were a blur of desolation. I could barely function, each breath a reminder of the betrayal that had gutted me. The vibrant, structured life I once led was replaced by a suffocating darkness that seeped into every corner of my existence. I neglected my work, my home, and, most painfully, my own well-being. My days were a monotonous cycle of grief, punctuated only by moments of fleeting clarity that soon gave way to despair. I avoided friends and family, ashamed of my broken state. Their well-meaning attempts to reach out felt like intrusions. They couldn't understand the depth of my pain, the hollow echo that reverberated through my soul. My parents, pillars of strength throughout my life, became distant voices over the phone, their concern a constant reminder of my failure. My siblings' offers of support felt hollow, unable to bridge the chasm that had opened within me. Nights were the worst. The silence of the house was deafening, amplifying the emptiness left by Emma's departure. I wandered through the rooms like a ghost, haunted by memories of a happier time. The once cozy home felt alien, a stark contrast to the warmth it had once exuded. I often found myself in Oliver's room, watching him sleep, his innocent face a painful reminder of what I had to protect. But even his presence, as much as it grounded me, couldn't completely pull me from the abyss. My work suffered tremendously. Projects piled up, deadlines slipped by unnoticed. I could feel the concern of my colleagues, their hesitant questions and sympathetic glances. But I was beyond caring, drowning in my own sorrow. The passion I once had for architecture, the joy of creating something from nothing, was snuffed out. Every blueprint I looked at blurred into meaningless lines. Every idea felt devoid of inspiration. Oliver's needs became my only tether to reality. His small hand in mine, his innocent questions, and his unyielding love were the only things that kept me from completely succumbing to the darkness. But even as I cared for him, I felt like a mere shell of the father I once was. Our interactions were tinged with a sadness I couldn't hide, my forced smiles and hollow reassurances doing little to mask the pain. One particularly dark evening, as the weight of my despair threatened to crush me, I sat in the living room, staring at the blank TV screen. The house was eerily silent, save for the occasional creak of settling wood. I felt a sudden, overwhelming urge to disappear, to escape the unbearable anguish. But as I stood up, a small voice called out from the top of the stairs. "Daddy?" Oliver stood there, clutching his stuffed bear, his eyes wide with worry. In that moment, something inside me shifted. I realized that I couldn't let the darkness win. I had to find a way to claw my way back, not just for myself, but for him. Oliver needed me, and I couldn't afford to fail him. The descent into darkness had brought me to the brink, but it was the light in my son's eyes that pulled me back from the edge. As I held him close, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat, I made a silent vow. I would fight my way out of this abyss. I would rebuild, not just for my sake, but for Oliver's. The journey ahead would be long and arduous, but I was determined to find a way. I owed it to my son, and to myself, to rise from the ashes of my shattered reality. The days slowly started to blend into weeks, and although the pain remained a constant companion, Oliver's presence became my lifeline. His boundless energy and unfiltered joy acted as a balm for my wounded heart. Every morning, his laughter filled the house, pushing back the darkness that threatened to engulf me. His innocence and love were a beacon, guiding me through the fog of my despair. One crisp Saturday morning, Oliver tugged at my hand, his eyes bright with excitement. "Daddy, let's go to the park," he pleaded, his enthusiasm infectious. It had been weeks since we'd done anything outside the confines of our home. His simple request felt like a lifeline, a chance to break free from the prison of my thoughts. At the park, Oliver ran ahead, his laughter ringing through the air as he chased after butterflies and climbed the jungle gym. I watched him, a small smile tugging at my lips. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, I felt a flicker of something resembling hope. Oliver's joy was a reminder of the beauty still present in the world, even in the midst of my sorrow. Our outings became a routine, each day bringing a new adventure. We visited the zoo, explored hiking trails, and spent lazy afternoons building sandcastles at the beach. Each moment spent with Oliver was a step towards healing. His curiosity and wonder rekindled a spark within me, helping me see the world through his eyes, full of potential and endless possibilities. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Oliver handed me a small, crumpled drawing. It was a simple sketch of our family, him, me, and a stick-figure version of Emma. In his innocent scrawl, he had written, "I love you, Daddy." Tears welled up in my eyes as I hugged him tightly. His love was pure and unwavering, a testament to the strength of our bond. Inspired by his drawing, I decided to channel my emotions into something creative. I dusted off my old sketchbook and began to draw again. At first, it was difficult. My hand felt clumsy, my lines unsure. But with each stroke, I felt a sense of release, a way to process my grief and find solace. Drawing became my therapy, a way to express the pain and begin to heal. Oliver often joined me, his own drawings full of vibrant colors and wild imagination. We would sit for hours, side by side, lost in our creative worlds. Through art, we found a new way to communicate, to share our thoughts and feelings without the need for words. It became our special time, a sacred ritual that brought us closer together. As the weeks turned into months, I began to feel a shift within myself. The darkness still lingered, but it no longer held the same power over me. With Oliver by my side, I found the strength to face each day, to rebuild our lives one step at a time. His light had guided me through the darkest moments, and for that, I was eternally grateful. Our journey was far from over, but I knew that with Oliver's love and the resilience I had found within myself, we could overcome any obstacle. Together, we would create a new life, one filled with hope, love, and endless possibilities. As I began to heal, life started to take on a new shape. The suffocating grip of despair loosened its hold, replaced by a tentative hope. Oliver's unwavering love had pulled me from the abyss, and now it was time to build something new, something better. I knew I couldn't do it alone, and fate had a surprising way of introducing me to the person who would become a cornerstone of this new beginning. It happened on a rainy afternoon. I had taken Oliver to a cozy little cafe we frequented. The place was warm and inviting, a perfect refuge from the dreary weather. As I sipped my coffee and watched Oliver doodle on a napkin, I noticed a woman sitting alone at a nearby table, engrossed in a book. She had a calm, serene presence that caught my attention. Oliver, ever the social butterfly, noticed her too. He bounced over to her table, his napkin in hand.
I'm Oliver.
"Do you like to draw?" he asked, his innocent curiosity breaking the ice. The woman looked up, startled at first, but then she smiled, a genuine, warm smile that lit up her face. "I'm Lily," she replied, her voice soft and kind. I do like to draw. What are you drawing? Oliver proudly showed her his scribbles, and they struck up a conversation. I walked over, ready to apologize for Oliver's interruption, but Lily waved it off. He's delightful, she said, looking up at me with eyes that sparkled with genuine interest.
I'm Lily.
Nice to meet you. From that moment, Lily became a regular part of our lives. She was deeply empathetic and an incredible listener, qualities that stood in stark contrast to Emma's detachment. She had a way of making both Oliver and me feel seen and valued. Our conversations flowed effortlessly, and her presence was a soothing balm to my still healing heart. We started spending more time together. Picnics in the park, trips to the museum, and quiet evenings at her place, where we would cook dinner together while Oliver played nearby. Lily had a gift for finding joy in the simplest moments, and her positivity was infectious. She encouraged me to pursue my interests, to find joy in life again. One evening, as we sat on her porch watching the sunset, Lily turned to me. "You're stronger than you realize," she said, her voice filled with conviction. "You've been through so much, but you've come out the other side. You're a wonderful father, and you're building a beautiful life for you and Oliver." Her words resonated deeply. For the first time in a long while, I felt a sense of pride and hope. With Lily by my side, the future seemed bright and full of promise. She wasn't just a new beginning for me. She was a partner in the truest sense, someone who shared my values and dreams. Our relationship blossomed naturally, filled with mutual respect and understanding. We were building something new, grounded in the lessons of the past but looking firmly toward the future. With Oliver's light guiding us and Lily's unwavering support, I felt ready to face whatever came next. The new beginning wasn't just about starting over. It was about creating a life that celebrated love, resilience, and hope. And for the first time since Emma's betrayal, I felt truly alive. The new chapter in my life with Lily and Oliver was a journey of rediscovery. Lily's unwavering support and Oliver's infectious joy had pulled me from the depths of despair, but now I needed to find my own strength to rebuild myself as a man and a father. This process was neither quick nor easy, but it was profoundly transformative. One day, as I was organizing some old boxes in the attic, I stumbled upon a sketchbook from my college days. Flipping through the pages, I felt a pang of nostalgia. The sketches were raw and filled with passion, a stark contrast to the sterile, corporate designs I had been working on before my life fell apart. Lily, noticing my interest, encouraged me to reconnect with my creative side. I took her advice to heart and began sketching again, starting with simple designs and gradually moving on to more complex projects. Each drawing was a step toward healing, a way to channel my emotions and regain a sense of control. Oliver often joined me, his own drawings filled with vibrant colors and wild imagination. It became a cherished ritual, a way for us to bond and express ourselves. As my confidence grew, I decided to take a bold step. I approached my firm with a proposal for a new project, a community center that would serve as a safe haven for families in need. My passion and determination must have been evident, as my bosses agreed to let me spearhead the initiative. It was a chance to create something meaningful, to give back to the community and leave a lasting impact. The project was challenging, but it reignited a fire within me. I poured my heart and soul into the designs, working closely with a team of like-minded individuals who shared my vision. The community center began to take shape, and with each passing day, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. This wasn't just a building. It was a symbol of resilience, a testament to the strength found in unity and support. Outside of work, I also began taking better care of myself. Lily introduced me to yoga, and though I was skeptical at first, I soon found it to be a powerful tool for managing stress and finding inner peace. We practiced together, our sessions becoming a time of reflection and connection. I started running again, rediscovering the joy of pushing my limits and feeling the rush of endorphins. Through these activities, I uncovered strengths I never knew I had. I became more patient, more present, and more appreciative of the small moments that made life beautiful. Lily and Oliver were my anchors, but I learned to stand on my own, to draw strength from within. One evening, after a particularly fulfilling day at the construction site, I returned home to find Oliver and Lily waiting for me with a homemade dinner. As we sat together, laughing and sharing stories, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The man I had become was a far cry from the broken shell that Emma's betrayal had left behind. I had discovered a resilience within myself that I never knew existed. The journey was far from over, but I was no longer afraid. With Lily and Oliver by my side, and a newfound strength within me, I felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. We were building a life filled with love, hope, and endless possibilities. This was not just a new beginning. It was a testament to the power of resilience and the strength that comes from truly discovering oneself. The day of the courtroom battle arrived like a looming storm, fraught with tension and anticipation. Emma's betrayal had left scars, but today was about more than just retribution. It was about justice and securing a stable future for Oliver and me. With Lily's unwavering support and Oliver's love bolstering my resolve, I entered the courthouse determined to see it through. The courtroom buzzed with a somber energy. Emma sat across from me, her expression a mix of defiance and indifference. Her lawyer, a sharp-suited man with a reputation for ruthlessness, began with his opening statement, painting Emma as a dedicated mother and career woman who had simply made a mistake. I clenched my fists under the table, the narrative twisting the knife further into my heart. My lawyer, a compassionate yet fierce advocate named Sarah, stood up to present our case. She spoke eloquently about my role as a devoted father, the sacrifices I had made, and the impact Emma's actions had on our family. The tension in the room was palpable as she meticulously laid out the evidence of Emma's deceit. The most dramatic moment came when Emma's financial records were presented. It became clear that her relationship with her boss wasn't just a personal betrayal. It was entwined with financial manipulation and deceit. Emma had funneled money into joint accounts with her boss, leaving our family finances in disarray. The revelation shocked everyone, including Emma, who looked visibly rattled for the first time. Then came the emotional testimony. Sarah called Oliver to the stand, and my heart pounded as my son, now 6, took his place. He was nervous but composed, his innocence shining through. "I love my mommy and daddy," he began, his small voice echoing in the silent courtroom. "But mommy doesn't live with us anymore. She left with Mr. Harris." His words were simple, but they carried a weight that no amount of legal jargon could match. Tears welled up in my eyes as I watched him. The judge's expression softened, the human impact of Emma's betrayal starkly evident. Oliver's testimony was a turning point, shifting the emotional tide in our favor. In her final statement, Sarah emphasized the need for stability and justice. She argued that Emma's actions had not only broken our family but had shown a blatant disregard for Oliver's well-being. The judge nodded, taking in every word, and called for a recess to deliberate. The minutes felt like hours as we waited for the judge's decision. When he finally returned, his verdict was clear and decisive. Emma was to relinquish significant financial assets, and I was granted primary custody of Oliver. The courtroom erupted into murmurs, the weight of the decision sinking in. Emma's face was a mask of disbelief and anger. As she stormed out, I felt a strange mix of relief and sorrow. The battle had been won, but it had come at a great emotional cost. I gathered Oliver in my arms, his innocent eyes searching mine for reassurance. "It's going to be okay, buddy," I whispered, holding him close. "We're going to be just fine." Walking out of the courthouse with Lily and Oliver by my side, I felt a sense of closure. The courtroom battle had been a harrowing ordeal, but it marked the end of a painful chapter and the beginning of a new, hopeful one. With justice served and the strength I had discovered within myself, I was ready to embrace the future and build a life filled with love, security, and endless possibilities for my son and me. The courtroom victory was a turning point, a moment of triumph that marked the beginning of our transformation. Walking out of the courthouse, I felt an immense weight lift from my shoulders. The long, arduous battle had been worth it, and justice had finally been served. With Emma's deceit exposed and Oliver's future secured, it was time to focus on rebuilding our lives. Lily, ever supportive, stood by my side throughout this process. Her unwavering belief in me was a constant source of strength. She encouraged me to continue pursuing my passion for architecture, and with her support, I decided to open my own firm. It was a bold move, but I felt a renewed sense of purpose and confidence. Starting the firm was no easy task, but I was driven by a newfound determination. I wanted to create something meaningful, something that would make a difference in the community. I reached out to old colleagues and clients, sharing my vision for a firm that not only focused on innovative design, but also prioritized sustainability and community impact. Word spread quickly, and soon, projects began to roll in. One of our first major undertakings was the community center I had dreamed of. It was a project close to my heart, a symbol of resilience and hope. I poured my energy into every aspect of its design, ensuring it would be a place where families could find support and connection. As the community center took shape, so did my personal life. Oliver thrived in the new environment we created. He was more than just my son. He was my inspiration. His laughter filled our home, a constant reminder of the love and joy that had persevered through the darkest times. We spent weekends exploring the outdoors, building forts, and cooking together. Our bond grew stronger with each passing day. Lily and I grew closer too, our relationship deepening in ways I hadn't thought possible. She was my partner in every sense of the word, sharing in the triumphs and challenges of our new life. Her empathy and understanding had been my anchor, and now we looked forward to building a future together. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Lily turned to me with a smile. "You've come so far," she said, her eyes reflecting the warmth of the setting sun. "I'm so proud of you." Her words resonated deeply. I had come far, but I hadn't done it alone. It was the love and support of my family that had made this transformation possible. The pain of the past had been replaced with a resilient spirit, one that refused to be broken. The grand opening of the community center was a momentous occasion. The building stood as a testament to our journey, a beacon of hope for all who entered. As I stood before the gathered crowd, with Lily and Oliver by my side, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The trials we had faced had forged us into a stronger, more united family. The applause echoed around us, and I took a deep breath, feeling the triumph of our collective efforts. This was not just the culmination of a project, it was the realization of a dream. We had transformed our pain into purpose, our struggles into strength. In the end, it wasn't just about winning the courtroom battle. It was about the journey of healing and growth, about discovering the strength within ourselves and in each other. Our lives were forever changed, but they were richer, more meaningful. We had triumphed over adversity, and in that triumph, we had found our true selves. The dawn of our new life arrived quietly but unmistakably. With the community center thriving and my firm gaining recognition, a sense of stability and peace settled over us. Each day was a testament to the resilience we had cultivated and the love that had seen us through. Oliver flourished in this new chapter. He embraced his role as a leader among his peers at the community center, organizing activities and helping younger children. His natural empathy and boundless energy made him a beacon of positivity. Watching him interact with others, I often marveled at his strength and adaptability. He had faced the upheaval in our lives with remarkable grace and had emerged more compassionate and self-assured. Lily and I continued to deepen our bond. We found joy in the little things. Morning coffee on the porch, late-night conversations under the stars, and spontaneous weekend getaways. Her presence was a constant reminder that love could be a healing force, transforming pain into something beautiful. We often spoke about the future, our dreams intertwining seamlessly. The idea of expanding our family was a recurring theme, and the thought of giving Oliver a sibling filled us both with excitement. Professionally, my firm had become a hub for innovation and community engagement. The community center's success led to new opportunities, and I was approached to design similar projects in other towns. Each new project was a chance to give back, to create spaces where people could find solace and support. It was incredibly fulfilling to see the tangible impact of our work, knowing that we were making a difference. One crisp autumn morning, as the leaves turned brilliant shades of red and gold, I found myself standing on a hill overlooking the community center. Lily and Oliver were beside me, their hands intertwined with mine. We had come here to reflect on how far we had come, to celebrate the dawn of our new life. Look, Daddy. Oliver pointed excitedly to a group of children playing on the newly built playground. They're having so much fun. I smiled, my heart swelling with pride. Yes, they are. And it's all because of you, buddy. You inspired this. Lily squeezed my hand gently. And because of you, too, she added, her voice filled with warmth. You turned your pain into something beautiful, something that helps so many people. We stood there for a while, soaking in the moment. The sun rose higher, casting a golden glow over the landscape. It was a symbol of our journey, a new dawn, bright with promise and hope. As we walked back down the hill, I felt a profound sense of contentment. Our past struggles had not defined us. They had refined us, making us stronger and more resilient. The future stretched out before us, a canvas waiting to be filled with new adventures and dreams. In that moment, I knew we could face anything together. The shadows of the past had given way to the light of a new dawn, and with Lily and Oliver by my side, I was ready to embrace whatever came next. This was our time, our new beginning, and it was filled with endless possibilities.